Hi everyone, my name is Tudor and I am a front-end engineer. And today I'm going to talk about my team. We are called Frontier, and how we went from the plan is to have a plan to the plan is to not have a plan. And first I'm going to start by introducing myself. As I said, my name is Tudor. I am a software engineer, contrary to what some member of the Adevinta talent acquisition team will tell you. I am an engineer, not a manager. This is important for me. I have been working at Adevinta for about 5 years, more or less. In August, it's going to be 5 years. I do own a collection of colorful hats, as you can see. And I'm also one of the organizers of Barcelona Js, which is a meetup group focused at or aimed at building a community of JavaScript engineers in Barcelona. We had several meetups. We generally hold one every month, but with COVID, we couldn't. In some cases, we actually had Adevinta helping us with the organization of the meetup, and we had some amazing talks and pizza on the terrace. And I hope that once this is the COVID situation is done, we can start again these meetups. And as I said, I specialized in the front-end disciplines. And first of all, like what is front-end? When people talk about web pages, you may hear them speak about responsiveness, usability, things like user interface, accessibility, UX, SEO. Or in other cases, you may hear them talk about databases, AWS, clouds, servers, DevOps, APIs, data processing. Well, this part, the above one, is front-end, and then we have the back-end, as displayed by the guys at the Blue Coders. So we are here. This is front-end. We generally focus on the nice visual parts of the software development cycle. So a bit of history. As I said, I was working at Adevinta. Before it was Adevinta, it was called Shipstead. And I started working in a team called Messaging, which was building a messaging system that allows users of our marketplaces to talk and interact with each other. And after about a year or something, I wanted to try something new. And in companies like Adevinta, this is a great advantage because you can actually go and try a different team or a different vertical. You don't need to actually move company. You can just move to a different floor in the office and do something completely new. So after this, I tried to talk to the engineering and productivity, and which is a team that builds tools that our engineers use in Adevinta into their day-to-day job. As the name says, it aims to make engineers more productive. But this was still not my place in the company. I felt a bit disconnected from the users. Everything there is very strictly technical. It's aimed at engineers. It's not aimed at our users. So I wanted something that with more impact towards the end users, the people that actually use our marketplaces. So then I went to one of our engineering leaders. His name is Sergio, and I say, "Can I get a job? I want you to be my manager." And he said yes. And I joined an organization we call Global Markets, which is handling all the marketplaces that we have in Adevinta outside Spain and France. So Italy, Austria, Hungary, Belarus, Mexico, and so on. And he said, well, we could use some improvements on page speed and performance. So studies show that if a web page is slow, users will bounce, will not stay and load. And this is normal. Like if you go and try to connect to a site and then you have to wait 10 seconds, you're gonna leave. And unfortunately, this was the case for some of our marketplaces. So I said, okay, let's do that. But before, I would like to talk a bit about Adevinta. We have 4 core values, which are say it like it is, win and lose together, get stuff done, and always be learning fast. So I was told that, okay, you need to work on a project that will help our marketplaces improve their page speed and performance. And I had no idea, and to be honest, how to do it. I've never done that before. It was a completely new challenge for me. I was alone, and I went to the managers and I said, well, the plan is to have a plan. That's my plan. That's the only plan I can have. And to bring a bit of weight to that statement, I said, say it like it is. Hashtag say it like it is. And started working. I started looking around, but I was alone, which is very difficult to come up with ideas and a plan, because in the synergies that you get when you work with your colleagues, and the diversity of ideas kind of helps crystallize a project. Otherwise, it's just my one-sided view, which may be good or bad, but I don't know, because there's nobody there to challenge it. So I was kind of feeling alone, and I talked to my manager about this, and I was lucky because at the South Pole in Chile, we have a marketplace. It's called Diapo, and one of the engineers there, the tech lead of the front-end team in Santiago, was thinking of moving to Barcelona. And I said, okay, let's help him. His name is Danilo, to move to Barcelona, and we can start working on this together, and then we're gonna have an actual team, and the project will move much faster. And then we started the project, and there are some things that you need to do when you start a project. And first, you need to find a name for the project. That makes it official. It makes it cool. Once you have a name, the second most important thing you need to do about the project is you need a logo for it. And then the third most important is you need stickers. So you can see on my laptop, I have one here in the red circle and another one. So we had Mac stickers. We call it after the speed of sound. So we wanted to make our websites as fast as fighter jets. And then we have another person joining, another engineer from Barcelona. His name is Kai. He is an expert also in the front-end side disciplines, and he joined the team. And now, to recap, we have a team, we have a name for the project, we have a cool logo, we have stickers. So we're kind of done, right? I mean, we can go and party and everybody's gonna be happy. This view was not shared by everyone, especially the boss. He was like, "Can you guys actually do something useful for the project?" And then we started. If you want to improve something, anything, you need first to have a way to accurately measure it. You need to know if what you're doing is productive or counterproductive. So we started there. We need a way to measure page speed and performance accurately. So we looked at Google, and they have a tool called Lighthouse. Lighthouse connects to a marketplace or to a site, any site, and runs an analysis. And based on this analysis, it tells you how fast or slow the page is loading, and has different metrics such as time to interactive, which is the amount of time it elapses before the website actually becomes interactive. So if you click on links or buttons, something actually happens. First contentful paint, largest contentful paint, and so on. And then we looked at our way of working, and we said, well, the world is kind of big. In terms of distance and also in terms of network latency. So we had marketplaces in Europe, but we also had marketplaces in Latin America. And if we are to measure the speed, so connecting from from Barcelona to a website in Chile or Colombia or Mexico, we may not get the accurate results because of the network latency. So like, okay, we need to find a solution on that. And we looked, and then we picked a tool that's called Docker. Docker basically allows you to create a box or a Docker container with a specific application running inside it, and just ship it and deploy it in the data center of your choice. So, and then we were looking at Prometheus, which is an open source application used for event monitoring and alerting. So basically, we had Lighthouse, which is the tool from Google that measures page speed and performance, put inside a Docker container that could be actually deployed in each of the countries. So for the Chilean users, we'll be measuring from Chile. For the Mexican users, we'll be measuring from Mexico. For the Austrian users, we'll be measuring from Austria, and so on. And all this information will send data to a central Prometheus application, so we can see dashboards. We had another approach where we could deploy the same application instead of inside a Docker container on in a data center. We can also deploy it on a Raspberry Pi. So we can write a Raspberry Pi is a small integrated mini computer, if you want. So we could install it, ship it via post to the country of choice, and say, okay, just plug it in, and it will send us information. And then at some point, things started working. We were able to monitor the performance over time. So you can see here how things evolve and so on. And then we started doing the actual improvement. And improving page speed and performance is a bit of more of a dark art than actual science, because there are too many variables. You cannot account for all the variables. So it's a lot of trial and error. It's like, we had an idea, let's try this, let's see if it works. It didn't. Okay, let's plan something else. Let's try that. Okay, this one worked. This is great. Let's try to follow this path until we reach a roadblock, and so on and so forth. The results were very good, actually. This was one of our end of the year reports. So you can see the performance scores in Subito, which is one of our marketplaces in Italy. They're based in Milano. Went from 14% to 59%. The largest contentful paint went from 14 seconds to 2.7 seconds. So instead of waiting for 14 seconds to see something, you would wait about 2.5 seconds. Time to interactive was also decreased. So this was at the end of the first iteration. And yeah, the project was successful, and we also tried or used it to improve page speed and performance in our other marketplaces, such as Willhaben in Austria and Jófogás in Hungary, in Budapest. So overall, it was a great success, and we were happy. But the thing is, a high performance team is a team that delivers value constantly over time. So whenever you do something bad, you should analyze it and try to understand why it didn't work. When you do something that works, you should also try to analyze and understand why it worked. Otherwise, you just got lucky. You can have one project that went really well and all the others went not as well. So yeah, like big brain power. So we were looking, some of the things that we've done, we didn't use. For example, we can easily simulate or compensate for latency within the software. The Raspberry Pi was never actually used, but we did. And pretty much every plan we ever made kind of failed. And this comes as a contradiction with my previous statement, because I said the project was successful. Yes, it was successful in spite of the plan, not because we had a plan. So having a predefined plan is generally a bad idea, especially if you have bigger projects. Because you have a plan, then you add tickets, you start executing it, and then this is the waterfall model that you may have heard of. And at some point around here, reality kicks in. And when that happens, it's very difficult to swim upstream. You're already falling with the waterfall, you have a plan, and you need to try to stick with the plan that you agreed on. And this is problematic because even if you use sprints or iterations, if you have a big chunk of predefined tasks, at some point things will go wrong, because what you're building is a house of cards. So you have one sprint, the second one, the third sprint, and at some point just one card needs to be off, and it creates a cascade, a snowball effect, and everything goes wrong. And you end up in a situation where you're trying to make reality fit your plan instead of having a plan that kind of models reality. And every single time you try to make reality fit your plan, you're going to lose, because the universe is bigger and has infinite resources. So we moved to, the plan is to not have a plan, because apparently having a plan was a waste of time. Hashtag say like it is, Adevinta style. So everybody was like, "Oh, you can't do this. How will we work? How this is madness. This is anarchy." It's not actually. You can have a plan or you can have a strategy, and there are some key differences in the way you're looking at things and the way you're being agile about it. So, for example, planning is thinking in advance for future actions that may or may not happen. Strategy is just a path of you choose to achieve your objective. So instead of defining a series of tasks, we define a series of objectives, but we don't know how we're going to get there. We know we need to get there. A plan relies on thinking, so you have to do a lot of forward thinking because you don't have all the information, and furthermore, the information will change. The world of software engineering is very dynamic, so if you have an agreement with somebody now and you go to production in 6 months, the agreement may not be valid then. Whereas a strategy is based on action. So I look of what's around me at this moment, and I take a decision based on actual data. Plans are made based on assumptions and speculation. So I plan this based on the assumption that in 3 or 6 months this will work correctly. And a strategy is based mostly on practical considerations. So the question is, does it work? The answer is yes, and in some cases, it's the only way it will work. Some projects simply cannot be planned. There are too many unknowns, and the effort to plan it is too high. You cannot spend 3 months planning 2 weeks of work. Sorry. So, for example, one of the projects that we're working on is for an internal tool. It's called Serenity. And we're building micro frontends with Webpack 5 Federation. This is a new technology. It was released less than a year ago by the Webpack team. I think, was October 2020. So we're the first in the company actually doing this. Nobody else has done it before. And there is no clear path. It's very difficult to plan. It's very difficult to even speculate about what is going to happen because we've never used it. And generally, everything that can go wrong will go wrong in these cases. So we need to be prepared for that. We need to be very agile in the way we do things and not have these big plans. And then we're also trying to do a rewrite of Yofogás, which is our one of the 2 marketplaces that we have in Hungary. if you remember, we had this picture of what frontend is. Well, that frontend, after about 15 or 17 years of being in continuous use and being developed on concentrical circles with developers coming and going, it started to look a bit more like this. So we need to change it and update it to fit our modern standards. So this is pretty much what we're doing, and this is how we started. Both the Serenity Webpack 5 project and the rewrite of Yofogash are now in progress. So I can't tell you whether they're going to be successful or not, but fingers crossed. I have like one takeaway, and if you remember in the beginning, I said that I went to one of the managers, one of the engineering leaders that I really thought that he could help me in my career, and asked to join his team, asked to join his organization, and he said yes. And this made a big impact on my career. And I think, especially in the early stages of your careers, it's more important to find the right manager and mentor. It's more important than the job description. So a good manager can make or break your career. And that's it. Thank you. Any questions? All right, nobody?
I have a question.
Sure.
Which kind of front-end frameworks do you usually use?
Okay, so we don't use a specific framework. In a lot of cases, we believe that you need to choose the right tools for the job. So if a project is small enough, it doesn't justify an enterprise level framework or approach. In other cases, it does. So we don't have a very strict policy we use only those frameworks. But there is a majority of cases which is based on React and Next.js. But there are also successful Vue.js projects. There are also some projects where they require to be very, very fast, and the code base needs to be very small, the bundle, in which case we don't actually use a framework. And the teams generally have the opportunity to choose their tools based on the type of problems that they're solving. So we have Vue.js teams, we have React teams, we have Next.js teams, but the majority is React.